You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a professional motivational speaker, Nancy can assist you to blow through your setbacks and start living full out. If you have an inspirational story you want to share, email us at connect@livingfullout.com. Once again, here's Nancy.
Hello and welcome to the Living Full Out Show. My name is Nancy Solari, and today we're talking about keep fighting to make an impact. Now, what does that mean? That means that you maybe literally put on your gloves and, boom, 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 right? You have to sometimes fight for life, fight for your dreams, right? Because we all can make an impact, whether that's just being a good neighbor or, starting an initiative or making a difference at work or, even being a teacher or a great parent. So it's going to be different for everyone, but sometimes you got to get in the ring. You got to find that way to bust through and make it that difference. And our inspirational guest that's going to be coming up in our next segment, Michael Montgomery, honestly, you don't want to miss his story. He had a cardiac arrest on the playing field when he was 19, but yet that didn't stop him from making it all the way to the NFL, his dream. But he had to really fight for it. So it's a really touching story. I want you to obviously be inspired by that. I also want to make sure that you reach out to us at connect@livingfullout.com. If you need resources on today's topic, if you're feeling like I don't even know where to begin, Nancy, or I don't have the fight in me and I need somehow to get that tenacity, let us help you. We're happy to do so. And sometimes just listening to other episodes that we've had by going to the livingfullout.com website, go to the radio page, many different episodes there. Sometimes it's just hearing a certain guest say a phrase or a word, tell a story that might be the game changer you need to again, let that vigor come through your body and really go for life. So I am getting word from our producer that we do have a listener on the line. We're going to go say hello to them. Hello, welcome to the Living Full Out Show.
Hi, good morning, Nancy. My name is Judy, and I'm calling from Pasadena. I have a quick question for you.
Yes.
My question is, first of all, I have a beautiful children, but my question is more so about how can I give my children some advice and voice my concerns without coming across as either an unsupportive mom or I sound pessimistic all the time, whether it is either their work habits or health or exercise or anything that, that I would like my children to focus on.
That's a good question, right? It's like sometimes watching a movie when someone walks down that dark alley and they shouldn't go down it and the creepy music's playing. You say, "Don't go, don't do it," right? I think sometimes being a parent, it's hard to sit back because you've been there yourself and you want to save them pain. You want to save them from wasting time. But at the same time, we only get stronger and better when we fall, and not when someone always lifts us up, but when we can lift ourselves up. And let's just call out the worst case scenario. By not offering your advice, by not inserting yourself in what you think they should do, what do you think, what's going to happen? What's the worst case scenario? You could take just one child and just give us an idea or what's that big worst case scenario thing?
Yeah, I was thinking about mostly, obviously, being a mom, my focus is always on good health, right? When not eating healthy or when for say your triglycerides are up and your bad cholesterol is up and there are certain eating habits you have to change. You have to put in the effort to get through the exercise because there's no other way about it, right? So me reminding about eating healthy or that probably is what getting to them. My thought process is if I don't remind them, the health will deteriorate and that's the concern, right? The worst case scenario because children are not able to think through the implications of it. They always think I have time.
Do you either yourself or someone really close to you, has somebody let their health go? Did somebody let their health go in your life?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And are they still with us today, or is their health just compromised because of it?
Yeah, the health is uh, not fully compromised, but of
Mm-hmm.
course, there are certain heart conditions, history in the family. Lost
Mm-hmm.
my father-in-law for a heart attack. So
Mm-hmm.
that's where my worry comes from, obviously from a good space, right?
Absolutely. And your kids know that, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So it's kind of a tough one because again, you want to tell them to be healthy and you want to tell them to get their checkups and to do check all those boxes, right? Depending on how old they are, depending on how mature they are, you know, sometimes Cheetos or sometimes burgers or sometimes people get busy and they put off going to a doctor. Sometimes people, penny pinch and they do one thing with their money versus going to a doctor. But that is part of growing up. Now, what I would do is absolutely continue to be the loving mom that you are. But I think that I would just be very careful, to find a good tempo for how often you say that. Now, you could be supportive in ways that, again, I don't know what their, circumstances are when it comes to financials or time or any of that. Whether you can help cover any of their health insurance, whether you can pay for monthly supplements that might help them be healthy, whether somebody may need to, again, go to a doctor, whether someone may need a gym membership. Anytime you can take a barrier for your kids to say, no, I can't. If you can afford to do that, that would be one thing. And that's just a gift. That's not nagging and that's not telling them what to do. That's solving a problem. Now, if the financial side and being the solution to their problem financially is not the problem and it's more so time, then you kind of want to be gentle with how you bring it up. I wouldn't bring it up every week, but maybe, holidays or maybe once a month, pick your moment, right? Type of thing. But at the end of the day, we have to always remember being them. I mean, I'm in my 40s now, but I remember a 20-something Nancy, and she was not who I am today in terms of, going to the doctor and being aware of my health. You're younger, you're invincible. You can eat anything, do anything. Bumps and bruises happen, but so be it, right? But as we get older, we see a little bit more, we feel a little bit more the wear and the tear, and, we become a little bit more nostalgic and, we understand, we're getting down the line as well. And I think sometimes you also have to put yourself in their shoes. If I were you and I was looking after my kids and I wanted to kind of remind them of things or make sure they were doing certain things and I felt like maybe I'm nagging too much, I'm not really sure, I would put myself in their shoes and I would say, okay, what if somebody kept telling me to eat this, don't eat that? How much do you weigh? Did you go to that doctor? Do you see what I'm saying? So I think sometimes you have to flip it around. The good news is you're a loving mother and they have you because not everybody does have a mom and not everybody has a mom that cares so much as you do. Okay? So that's a good thing. You have to, though, figure out what is their barrier for not doing something. Is it that they're not doing something because they're financially taking their money and putting it other places and maybe you could help out that way? Is there a barrier for saying no time? And maybe you can go to an appointment with them, make a lunch date out of it, dinner date out of it. Maybe, playfully, your kid's best. Maybe there's a reward system. Okay. I've been asking you to go to the doctor. You haven't done it. You haven't done it. Here's the thing. If you do it, I will do this for you. You know what I mean? Kids never get tired of rewards. Can you try some of those things?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I think great advice, Nancy. I think it's probably not the financial, not the time. It's the motivation, right? It's the procrastination. It's like being lazy, right? those are the difficult ones, right? So I think that's what it is.
So
yeah,
you
think,
might need to do the barter system then. Figure, you know your kids best. Are they in the clothing? Are they in the trips? Gift cards? So you will find that rhythm. But I appreciate very much your calling in on this, and we're going to wish you and your family just a lot of healthiness coming ahead, okay?
Thank you so much, Nancy.
You're welcome. And for everybody else, we're going to be coming right back with Michael Montgomery. Again, today it is all about getting in there. Keep fighting. Let's make the biggest impact we can. We'll be right back after this break.
Life looks a little different. During these times, we're doing our best to keep our minds and bodies strong. And getting a flu shot helps us stay healthy, so we don't miss out on what matters. Like having game night at home. Yeah, can't do that while sick with the flu. Now imagine family movie night that your daughter can't live without. Well, that's ruined. And don't forget your uncle's socially distanced cookout. See? That's why it's important to be at our strongest. Every year, millions of people in the U.S. get the flu. Especially now, no one has time to miss out on moments that matter. So get your flu shot. Find out more at getmyflushot.org. Brought to you by the AMA, CDC, and the Ad Council.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
Stop. That dog does not want to be petted.
Just a little heads up before something bad happens.
Move your coffee cup away from your computer.
Oh, no.
So you can have more control.
Stop. You're texting your boss by mistake.
Uh-oh. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Warning. The cap is loose on that ketchup.
Ugh. Don't wait. You have the power to change the outcome. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its pre-diabetes awareness partners.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Watch out! You got me!
The galaxy is safe once again.
In the pretend universe, kids play with pretend guns. In the real world, it's up to us to make sure they don't get their hands on a real gun. If you have a gun in the house, keep it locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad, just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a life coach, Nancy can teach you how to stay strong under pressure and work through challenges you face. Being legally blind, Nancy inspires others to be resilient in overcoming obstacles and live full out. You can ask Nancy for advice in your life on relationships, finance, business, health, and more. Just call in at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. Now, here's Nancy.
Welcome back. I'm Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And today we're talking about keep fighting so you can make an impact, and trying to fumble and roam through life to figure out what that means. Well, our inspirational guest today, Michael Montgomery, has been through that. He's got a lot of talents when it comes to athletics, but he too had to kind of hit the ground running and really feel life through to be of such a purposeful place today. And I'm so proud of him. So welcome, Michael, to the show.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Now, Michael, you grew up with a really talented mama bear. Okay, she was a Hall of Famer. And of course, you, being her son, had your own talents. I mean, all-state basketball, all-state football. I mean, what a stud, really. But I know that although you took, good advice from your mom, no drugs, no alcohol, you were a really healthy, focused athlete, she did advise you to really pay attention to your grades. And that one you kind of said, they're going to want me. I'm so good, they're going to want me, right? But ultimately, and I'm with you, Michael, I don't say that in a sarcastic way, because even when I was in high school, tests would freak me out. I would freeze. It wasn't my most shining time in my life. But you ended up not having the grades to go from high school to the Division I university. So what was the plan B? What did you do then?
Well, the plan B was to go to community college. Luckily, I visited multiple junior colleges in Texas. Tyler Junior College, Trinity Valley, Kilgore, Bland, and Navarro Junior College is the one that just stuck out the most. I mean, their living quarters was top-notch, second to none. And not only that, there was more important was their academic structure, academic focuses. All the other junior colleges I went on, they didn't bring me an academic structure plan. Navarro College, they had an academic plan for me to get back to Division I eligibility. They gave me a one sheet of paper, and it showed me what classes I needed to take, what grades I needed to make, what I need to do to get out an exit exam. So how many transferable hours I needed to do. So it was very detailed and structured on how I was going to get out. Because playing football, that was just the easy part of junior college. It's the grades. It's the attentiveness of knowing you're on track. Because back then, in the early 2000s, in Texas, if you had to get out of junior college, you had to pass an exit exam of reading, writing, and math, and you had to at least have over 80 hours of transferable credits. So for that 2 years, I lived at junior college. I lived there from fall to winter, mini masters. It was like 2.5 years. I didn't have time for breaks to go back home. I had to really buckle down and humble myself to get back to where I wanted to be.
Well, and you did that. And honestly, I think you just said such great advice for, students or parents that are listening, how important those grades are. And the good news is you did pass that exiting exam. And what division school picked you up?
I had 5 offers on the table, and me, from a small country guy, I ain't never been on no private plane before. So I went to LSU, I went to Tennessee. I went to Arkansas. I went to Oklahoma State. And the team I chose to go to was Texas A&M. The tradition, it just stood out more than anything. Not only that, being closer to family, people can come see me. And not only that, they had new coaches, a new defense, and I only had 2 years left. So my number one goal was to compete for a starting position so I could parlay it into a better opportunity to be in the NFL. So, and things were just lined up because Big 12 football, I had the opportunity to play against some of the top athletes in the world, Heisman Trophy candidates every week. So, A&M was a great solid choice, and I'm glad I made it to go there.
Absolutely. And there you were. And I imagine the players were bigger, and I imagine they were different than junior college. But there you were, first day of practice, and you started to feel not so good. What did you feel?
I felt like my heart was about to bust through my chest. I was just so excited. Getting out of just coming from high school, only playing football 2 years in high school, and then junior college, getting my grades right, competing, and then not only that, going to a Division I school. Man, I was just so elated, so excited, because every time I play football or practice, when I go to a new team, the number one thing I look for is I'm playing for my teammates' respect as a football player. That was the number one thing I itemize when I'm going to a new situation, a new team, a new job, a new anything. I'm working for my teammates and my coworkers' respect. So I was just gung-ho out there. It was 115 degrees. And I started to push myself, and we was practicing for like 4 or 5 hours. And, my heart started beating abnormally fast. And I started having shortness of breath. I started getting dizzy. But even in that moment, I wanted to just push myself because I was still thinking, I could just push through it. I experienced symptoms like this all growing up, but I just tried to push through it because I figured it was just something that was a part of my body that I needed to fatigue or push myself. But down the road, I passed out. I went unconscious. And thankfully, for the A&M staff to be intuitive to my needs, they brought me back to consciousness. I was in the training room, and the athletic trainer, David Ware, was on the phone with a cardiologist in Austin.
And it ultimately, Michael, came out. I mean, you had a cardiac arrest, which is something we're starting to hear so much about with young athletes. I want you to, we're going to have to take a break here and go to a quick break commercial. Stay with us, Michael. But for everybody, this is a really important story. This could be any kiddo that you know who's out playing. We have to look for the signs. So I'll be coming right back after this break. Stay with us.
Today in school, I learned a lot. In chemistry, I learned that no one likes me. In English, I learned that I'm disgusting. And in physics, I learned that I'm a loser.
Today in school, I learned that I'm ugly and useless. And in gym, I learned that I'm pathetic and a joke. In history, I learned that I'm trash.
Today in school, I learned that I have no friends. In English, I learned that I make people sick. And at lunch, I learned that I sit on my own because I smell. In chemistry, I learned that no one likes me.
In biology, I learned that I'm fat and stupid. And in math, I learned that I'm trash.
The only thing I didn't learn in school today?
The only thing I didn't learn today?
The only thing I didn't learn?
Is why no one ever helps.
Kids witness bullying every day. They want to help, but they don't know how. Teach them how to stop bullying and be more than a bystander at stopbullying.gov. A message from the Ad Council.
I'm Nancy Solari, certified life and business coach. I want to invite you to the Personal Development Boot Camp. During the boot camp, we're going to be looking at taking those insecurities that you have and getting rid of them. We're also going to look at ways in which you can thrive and live a life full of purpose. Go to livingfullout.com/bootcamp, livingfullout.com/bootcamp to sign up. I believe in you, and here's to you living your life full out.
They'll challenge your authority.
Put your seatbelt on.
They'll try to break your will. They'll push you to the edge of your sanity. Because that's what kids do. But this car is your territory, not theirs. Defend it. Who makes the payments? Who cleans it? Who drives it? You do. That's who. And in here, your word is law. So when you say you won't move until everyone's buckled up, you won't budge an inch. Until you hear that click. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. For more information, visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup.
7 million children suffer from asthma, more than any other chronic disease. Most asthma attacks are caused by allergic reactions to allergens, including those left behind by cockroaches and mice. In fact, 82% of U.S. households contain mouse allergens, and cockroaches are found in up to 98% of urban homes. How can you protect your family? Find out at pestworld.org. A message from the National Pest Management Association and the American College of Allergy, Asthma, and Immunology.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. Talk to doctor now and share it.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it twice a day.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it in the morning and before dinner.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it, and share it with my doctor. Nearly 1 in 2 U.S. adults have high blood pressure. That's why it's important to self-monitor your blood pressure in 4 easy-to-remember steps. It starts with a monitor.
Now that I know my blood pressure numbers, I talked with my doctor. We're getting those numbers down.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. Talk to doctor now and share it.
Be next to talk to your doctor about your blood pressure numbers. Get down with your blood pressure. Self-monitoring is power. Learn more at manageyourbp.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the American Heart Association, and the American Medical Association. In partnership with the Office of Minority Health and Health Resources and Services Administration.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. With Nancy's expertise, you'll learn how to embrace your potential and strive for success. If you have a question or need further support, send us an email at connect@livingfullout.com. Now, here's Nancy.
Welcome back. I'm Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And today we're talking about, keep fighting for that impact that you want to make. But sometimes you have to fight through pain, sometimes injuries. And our inspirational guest today, Michael Montgomery, has really gone through all of that and more. So I'd like to welcome Michael back to the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Now, Michael, you really took us all back to that moment, and thank you for sharing that. And I know ultimately you had a cardiac arrest, and you ended up talking to different specialists in Austin and getting checked out. And as it all started to unfold, you found out you had heart disease, and you were actually recommended by a doctor. I know you're so friends with him today, to stop playing, to give up athletics. But I'm wondering at that moment, here you are, you're 19, you're at Texas A&M, you're so excited. Like, I can only imagine that you could taste how close the NFL is. And, for all intents and purposes, you were physically fit and active and performing. But now you've got this heart condition. How did the coaches receive you? Because I imagine just as you had to earn your spot the first time, just to at least even get to practice, get to being able to transfer to Texas A&M, I imagine you had to like fight for your position again to prove to them that you were okay, that you were healthy enough to play.
Yeah, it was a thing where I had to go through a series of tests, condition tests, training tests, to warrant that I was physically able to play again. So I had to do like 3 weeks of EKG testing, stress testing, conditioning just to make sure they would allow me to play, because something like that was a very scary moment for the coaches, because you don't want to be a coach on your watch and a player dies from practice, and not so I had to go to a bunch of series of tests to allow me to get back on the team.
And eventually you did. You got back to playing. But see, this is where I think your story is so interesting, because just when you got back and you were cleared to play, your scholarship ran out your senior year. So you had to leave, but you kept training. But I imagine, trying to get, the NFL to look at you, that must have been kind of tricky. I mean, what did you have to do to stand out then?
Well, thankfully, once I did get back in the game and allowed to play, my junior year, I was coming off the bench my junior year, in the I think third or fourth game. So I was splitting time coming off the bench, making contributions, but still wasn't playing enough to put a good productive season. But thankfully, I worked my way into the rotation, and then the following year, I was named a starter, team captain, and I put up a good productive season. And being honored first team All Big 12 in the conference as a defensive lineman sure helped. And I was invited to play in the East-West Shrine game, and also play in another all-star game, college all-star game called the Senior Bowl. So that gave me some eyeballs to help my cause, even though, I only had, 1 year of a solid, productive year. So, the numbers was out there, my production was out there on tape, but, coaches, scouts were still lingering on, is my heart real good? So I had to go through a bunch of trials and tribulations, and at the end, it just all it needed was just one team to believe in me. Because,
and who was that one team? Who believed?
Green Bay Packers.
Let's hear for Green Bay. They're dream makers, Green Bay.
Yeah, the dream makers. Hey, green makers. Hey, green for the money.
Now, getting all the way to Green Bay, finally making it to the NFL. What an accomplishment. But again, where you are a fighter in life and why you are so inspirational is, yes, making it to the NFL is inspirational. But even after you made it there, you were there 5 years before different injuries came to play, and you did have to retire at 27. And that's pretty young when you think about the spectrum of life and okay, all I ever wanted to do was play in the NFL, and now what? And what I'm wondering is, you have gone on to do many great things. You've tested yourself out there in acting, and you did go back and get your degree in agriculture, and you're a true entrepreneur today. But I wonder, for someone like you, is it hard to watch, games like NFL games? Are you constantly mourning, gosh, what if I had more time?
At first it was very difficult to just watch football, watch my old teammates. I can even go back when, the year I got released, the Green Bay Packers, they won the Super Bowl that year. I got released before the playoffs started, and Green Bay went on this amazing run and won a Super Bowl in 2010. And just looking back, saying, I was so close to a championship ring, and my injuries, and it was tough. And like I said, it was tough trying to watch football and enjoy watching the game. But thankfully, through counseling, helping me open up and get over trauma, because, I was the type of person, I put all my eggs in one basket. Football was it. And when I didn't have it, I was lost.
And now you diversified, right? Like being an entrepreneur, you've got your hands in a lot of different buckets now. But I am curious. I know that you're a man of faith. You're a Christian, and for you, you may not have had the perfect NFL experience that you dreamt of. Like long career. But what does a perfect life mean to you then?
For me, I think a perfect life is the amount of people I can affect. Pushing them to be better. Because, I always heard Chris Rock had a saying. He said, if I die and if people only talk about me as a comedian, then I had a terrible life. So I kind of took that notion, like, being an influence to others. Right now, I started my foundation. I have my website, heartofmichael.org. We're doing heart screenings for kids. We'll have an event coming up on the 12th to do some screenings, some heart screenings. So I just want to just positively influence others and be all I can be to empower people to be their best selves. And I think that's where everybody gets the best out of them. All the top millionaires, billionaires, and successful entrepreneurs, their business is helping other people achieve whatever they want. And that's how the rich get the people who become millionaires, finding a product, doing something that's going to elevate and help other people.
Amen to that, Michael, really. And I'm very proud of you for the foundation that you created. I mean, we hear in the news now different well-known and some not well-known who are going through what you went through with the cardiac arrest. And it's really one of those things that's so scary to think that happened to you at 19, happens to some at 18, and obviously happens to those of us in our 40s and 50s. But, heart screenings is critical. So as we come out of this interview today, what's your number one advice for an athlete in terms of heart care?
Well, just getting heart screenings. I think, preventative heart screenings is a stepping stone to get yourself in the right direction, because, symptoms of heart defects or heart disease is just normal symptoms of just fatigue, shortness of breath, dizziness, lightheadedness. You might associate that with just being out of shape. So you never know until you get checked out, and that's the first step. So if you're out listening, parents, it's a calling call to parents, because as a kid, you're 12, you're not thinking about screening or nothing like that. You're thinking about just going out and playing. But it's up to us parents to police our children's heart health and just get them screened for any heart defects, because we just have a peace of mind. So I think parents, just to push them to get screening, it won't take long, maybe like 15 minutes, and you're out of there. So.
Well, Michael, thank you so much for, what you do today to, again, give kids that screening opportunity. And, you are truly a success in our eyes, for sure. And, you had bigger impacts to make, even beyond the NFL. So I guess, it's good that you retired when you did, because all those kiddos need you to do screenings, right?
Oh, yes.
We need you doing screenings instead of playing on the field right now. So, So thank you, Michael. Have a wonderful rest of your day. We appreciate you very much, and we'll be wishing you all the best.
All right. Thank you so much. And don't forget, everybody, heartofmichael.org. Feel free to get on the page, donate. I would love to hear contributions, and also I have another site, michaelmontgomery.org, for our upcoming book I've been writing.
Awesome.
So feel free to share the website, and thank you again for allowing me to be on the show.
You got it. We will cheer you on, I promise you. And for everybody else listening, just like Michael, you got to get in there. You got to have that fight, have that vigor, but it's about making an impact. It's not about looking good or necessarily having all the awards. It's really what you're remembered for and the impact that you do make. Reach out to us at connect@livingfullout.com if you do need resources on today's topic or any heart screenings. We want to make sure that you are healthy and well taken care of. I'm Nancy Solari. We'll be right back with the Living Full Out Show. Stay with us.
To some people, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much. But that's not necessarily true. By 6 months, they're combining vowels and consonants. By 9 months, they're trying out different kinds of sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on some meaning. Especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Early screening and intervention can make a lifetime of difference and unlock a world of possibilities. Take the first step at autismspeaks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Most of us like to be out in the sun. That's why sunscreen and other safety measures are key to protecting your skin from aging and cancer. The FDA recommends using a sunscreen with a sun protection factor, or SPF, of 15 or higher. Also, look for broad spectrum on the label. That means both harmful ultraviolet A and B rays are blocked. UVA rays age the skin, UVB rays burn, and both cause cancer. But the perfect sunscreen doesn't count if you use it wrong. Don't need sunscreen on a cloudy day? Wrong. 80% of UV rays still get through the haze. Only use sunscreen at the beach? Nope. Anytime you're outside, UV rays attack the skin, so you need protection. And you have to reapply sunscreen every 2 hours. Remember, SPF plus broad spectrum equal healthy fun in the sun. Visit www.fda.gov/sunscreen for more information. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
Right now, our country feels divided, but there's a place where people are coming together.
I gotta tell you, I was nervous to talk to someone so different than me.
Me too, but I'm glad we are.
Love Has No Labels and One Small Step are helping people with different political views, beliefs, and life experiences come together through conversation, and it feels good.
Wow, your story is so...
Interesting?
Yeah.
When people actually sit down, talk, and listen to one another, they can break down boundaries and connect as human beings. At lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep, you can listen to amazing, life-changing conversations and find simple tools to start a conversation of your own.
I know one thing. This conversation gives me hope.
It gives me a lot of hope, too.
Take a step toward bringing our country and your community together by having the courage to start a conversation at lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep. A message from StoryCorps, Love Has No Labels, and the Ad Council.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
When it comes to keep fighting and really going for it so you can make the biggest impact, I want you to think about what that impact looks like. Is there a certain demographic of people that you really want to see smiles come to or know that you are solving their problem? You know, do you have a certain talent or skill that you know could help alleviate the stress or pain of someone else? When you can crack that code, guess what? You're living full out and making an impact.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a professional motivational speaker, Nancy can assist you to blow through your setbacks and start living full out. If you have an inspirational story you want to share, email us at connect@livingfullout.com. Once again, here's Nancy.
Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. We have been talking about keeping that fight going, right? Because you want to make a big impact. And I know sometimes it's like, okay, Nancy, the whole fight thing, I just don't have it. I'm tired. I'm worn out. I'm just exhausted. And it's when you're exhausted that you want to fight even harder. It's kind of like if you're at the gym, right? And you're doing sit-ups or you're on the treadmill or something. Just the minute you start to sweat, you don't want to just give up. That's not when you're making the most productive, strides, right? You got to get through it, get through that time when you're sweating vigorously or panting, right? It's the same thing in life. When life gets hard, that isn't when you get up. The thing is, stories are about heroes. Stories are about being a survivor. Stories are about having others be able to cheer you on. So it's not about looking perfect. It's interesting, back when I was losing my vision quite aggressively, actually, in my early 20s, I was selling real estate, and I was really good at it. I loved real estate, but real estate is kind of a flashy industry, right? It's all about the nice car, and you have your clients sit in the back, and you drive them to a really beautiful property, and a lot of realtors are great, but a lot of people definitely play the part. And it was really hard for me back when I was losing my eyesight because I had to give up driving, and now I didn't have a car to drive them in. In fact, I didn't know what to do. I was a top producer at the time, so I was doing well, but I literally had to give up driving. I couldn't see the lines on the road. And this was before Uber and Lyft and all that, so that wasn't an option. It was cabs, drive myself, which I couldn't do, or the bus system. So you know what? I called 1-800-COMMUTE daily, and I would map out all the showings I had to do. And we're talking, I would take 2 to 12 buses in a day. And it was hard for me to figure out how to tell my clients about my vision loss because I couldn't even figure it out myself. It was just literally every couple months, it would just get a little bit worse. And then every couple years, it would get even more worse. And so again, just picture me, having all these showings. I would get on the bus, I would, be in my suit, and I'd have my briefcase, and I would show up early and turn on every light, memorize every step, do the showing, and hopefully they would write the offer there. And then I would get back on the bus and go to my next showing. And when you take the bus, it's agony because, they don't come right when you need them to come. We're talking, I would leave my house at 6, sometimes get home at 8, just because there would be times where I had to wait, sometimes 45 minutes for the next bus. And then over time, I had my assistant drive people around. And then even over time, I got more bold and I kept saying, okay, the best way to get to know a neighborhood is you drive. And I would sit in the passenger seat and they would drive, right? Creativity. But I say all this to you because I had to really fight to keep myself at that top producing level. I had to fight through looking good. I had to fight through really long days. But the impact was, it is such an honor to help somebody buy their first home. Like literally some of these these young families or new couples, and they were so nervous, and the fact that I could educate them, I could be the one to help them buy their first home, super honor. And then there were other people building their real estate empires, and again, I loved crunching the numbers, so I was happy to be a part of that as well. But as much as I was making an impact, and as much as I was trying to play the part, behind closed doors or within my own mind, things were going dark fast. And, I really had to muscle through. I had to fight through insecurities and hard days and stressful days. But thankfully, I got through it. And, in time, created Living Full Out, in time, doing this radio show here with you. But even that came with more challenges. So what I'm getting at here is we're all going to have our circumstances, right? We're all going to have our limitations. For me, that's vision loss. But for somebody else, it may be the limitation of time. They might be working multiple jobs. They might be working multiple jobs and they're a single parent. They might be caregiving for a spouse or elderly parents. I mean, the list goes on. But where I think we can really band together and be of inspiration together is just what we try to do here on the show. Having all these inspirational guests, when we choose these guests, we choose them because we hope that you can see a little bit of yourself in their story. Or we try to pick somebody's motivational story where it's relevant to what maybe we're hearing in the news. And, how can we educate people? How can we give subtle reminders? And that is really what we strive to do. So if you have an inspirational story, we would love to hear from you. Reach out to us at connect@livingfullout.com. Make sure to give us all your contact info. Make sure to explain what you've gone through, how you got through it, and what you've learned. And truly, when you do that, we are supporting each other. We are able to lift others up, and we can do that through you sharing your positive message. So thank you so much today for listening. The entire Living Full Out family is cheering you on in your life. Keep fighting, make that big impact, and live full out.
Thank you for listening to the Living Full Out Show with Nancy Solari. To learn more about this program, visit livingfullout.com for the latest episodes. Connect with the Living Full Out community by following us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and subscribing to our YouTube channel. Here's to you, Living Full Out.